The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, horror fans, and welcome to episode 341 of Frightmares. I'm your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for 2014's As Above, So Below is Cory Johnson.
Heyo, everybody. I'm sneaking into Iran.
Don't get buried up to your neck in sand. Another found footage movie. I think it's funny because we did Paranormal Activity back to back with Quarantine, and now we're doing As Above, So Below, and then next episode is also going to be a found footage movie, which is funny. So can you really blame us, though? Right.
It's kind of like our shtick at this point.
I'm surprised we haven't done more at this point, but yeah, I think it's just kind of funny because the rest of the year, I don't think I have any more found footage planned. But yeah, we had to do some, and we're doing some of the bigger ones. So my history with this movie, I don't think I saw this in theaters. I would have been 24. But I mean, it's probably just one of those ones I saw scrolling aimlessly across Netflix or something. I mean, really, what the thing for me is it's found footage. So I was sold on it just from that. I probably went into it being like, yep, I don't even care what it's about. Let's just watch this. And I've always liked it, but over the years and watching, I've just it's become one of my all-time favorite movies, not just found footage, just horror movies in general. It's weirdly a comfort movie for me, as I mentioned on the last episode in Evil Dead. I don't know why. I can't explain why it's a comfort movie. It just is for some reason. And I've watched it since I've been logging films on Letterboxd in 2019. I have logged this 17 times. So, and I didn't even have a log for it in 2019. I didn't start logging it until 2020. So basically I've watched it about 3 times every year. Like I said, it's just a comfort movie for me. So it's one of my favorites. What about you? Where did this come across your horror watching?
So this was 2014?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I think fresh out of my year and a half that I did in college. So I definitely remember being in the movie theater when the poster was in the movie theater. I'm just not that's a very hazy time in my life.
yeah. Dude, trust me, 2014, that's when I was really heavy into raving and doing a lot of drugs.
I'm pretty sure that's right around when you and I met, because we met at Ignition.
Yeah, 2013, Dr. P was the first time I went to Ignition, and that was in May of 2013, and then we met sometime after that. So
yeah. So I mean, I might have seen this movie, or I saw it as soon as it came out on DVD.
Yeah.
And all I remember is that it hit instantly. There was just something about this movie that, everybody has that one piece of art that just hits them on a level and just clicks and stays with them. Mm-hmm. That is this movie for me. It's so fun, and it's super formulaic, but they do it just a little bit different.
Okay.
And it makes it's one of those, I said this, I think, on the last episode that I was on. It's lightning in a bottle. It just hit me so good. And I've watched this countless times.
Right.
I don't even think it would be reasonable to log the amount of times that I do see this movie in a year. Just because, like, I'll be like, what am I going to do today? Nothing. I'm going to put on As Above, So Below and take a nap.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to watch this as I drift off into sleep. I don't, it's like, it's so claustrophobic, but it just feels like a warm blanket. It's so cozy. I can't explain it.
See, and for me, it has the same magic as going on like a really good theme park ride for the first time.
Okay.
It's almost roller coastery, but there's enough set design to where you're like, oh, this could be like a slow ride type of thing. And the reason I say roller coaster is the pacing is so fast.
Yeah, and I think it benefits from only being about an hour and a half. If it were any longer, the pacing might have been off, but it's pretty quick. You know, you're in and you're out, and so much has happened. So we will talk about As Above, So Below very shortly. But before we do that, we got to do this. We got to talk about what did Jason Hill make me watch. This week, he made me watch Zombievers from 2014. IMDb description: a fun weekend turns into madness and horror for a bunch of groupies looking for fun in a beaver-infested swamp. I don't know why they're described as groupies, but sure. Whatever. This is a movie that I've heard about for years and years and years, and I was watching it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I've actually seen this. I've seen clips, I've seen pictures, I've seen it referenced countless times, but I don't think I've actually sat down and watched it. So it was only 77 minutes. I knocked it out when my daughter was napping one day because I was like, oh, that's easy, quick. That's a quick movie. I do need to put out into the universe, though, that Mike Flanagan has this as logged on his Letterboxd, and I love that, which is amazing. He does not rate movies, but he will either log it or give it a heart. Did not give this a heart. That's fine, but it has to be out there. Bill Burr is the first person you see in this movie. He's driving a truck, which absolutely threw me the fuck off. Robert Schaefer, you might know him as Psycho Cop from the bonus episode we did back in May. He pops up in this for a quick cameo. Shout out to Robert. Love you, brother. And then Jake Weary is in this, and you might be like, who the fuck is Jake Weary? Well, he is the guy in It Follows. He plays Hugh, and he passes on the curse, whatever you want to call it, to Micah Monroe's character, Jay. So a lot of interesting people in this, and the opening scene is fucking crazy. Bill Burr and his friend are carrying biohazard containers in a truck. They crash into a deer. A container flies off into the river, and the title sequence follows the container as it floats down the river and hits a beaver dam where it sprays biohazard chemicals at the beavers. 100% in. I'm invested. I'm like, let's go. This is going to be stupid. You've got 3 chicks heading to a cabin for a weekend, and then it's supposed to be a boy-free weekend, and then the boys show up and crash the party. Everyone's banging except for one couple, which I thought was hilarious. They have been in some, there's been some, what do you want to call it? Some things that the boyfriend has done that are very skeevy. So, and then of course tragedy strikes with a zombiever in the bathroom that eventually gets beat to death. I am happy to report that all the beavers are practical. I'd say about 90% of them. Sometimes they're RCG, but usually if they're swimming or whatever. So top marks for that. But one of the guys does actually sacrifice a dog to the beavers in order to escape. Fuck that guy. Not a fan of that. And I mean, yeah, the movie's played very straightforward. Yes, they have hilarious dialogue, but it's more about what they're saying because they're taking the situation seriously. It is one of the most fun 77 minutes I've had next to Chopping Mall. It is so ridiculous and over the top. And bonus for anybody who listens to Richard Cheese, he does jazz song covers. He actually did the ending credits theme for Zombievers at the end. So I fucking loved this. It only has a 2.3 out of 5. I really wish people could just enjoy movies more. Does this really deserve the rating I gave it? No, but with a movie like this, it is based solely on enjoyment. Jason gave it a 2 out of 5. His review is, the first time I watched this, I was drinking with friends. The second time I watched it, I was sober, and it was during the pandemic. The first viewing was way more fun. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was just an awesome good time. 77 minutes, zombie versus attacking people. It's fucking hilarious. I had to restrain myself from laughing too loudly because, again, didn't want to wake the baby. It is streaming on Prime, Tubi, and Pluto. So once again, that is Zombievers from 2014.
Jason says, check it out. You'll probably hate it.
You'll probably hate it. Except in this case, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, probably not. If you can enjoy a good, campy, fun time, then this is right up your alley, let me tell you. So let's talk about some highest grossing movies and Oscar winners of the year. The highest grossing movie goes to Transformers: Age of Extinction, bringing in $1.1 billion, which is crazy. I think I've only seen like the first 2, and there's like 5 of those fucking movies. Highest grossing horror movie of the year goes to Annabelle, $257 million. This is the 87th Academy Awards presented on Sunday, February 22nd, 2015, honoring movies released in 2014. Best Actor goes to Eddie Redmayne, who I've never heard of, for The Theory of Everything. Actor in a supporting role goes to, well-deserved, to J.K. Simmons for Whiplash. That is one of my favorite performances of all time. I've never been afraid of J.K. Simmons until I watched that movie. Best Actress goes to Julianne Moore for Still Alice. Actress in a supporting role is Patricia Arquette for Boyhood. Cinematography goes to Emmanuel Lubezki for Birdman. Director Alejandro de Iñárritu for Birdman. Musical score, Alexandra Desplat for The Grand Budapest Hotel. And Best Picture goes to Birdman, or, in parentheses, The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Entirely too long of a title. Let's just call it Birdman. So, summary is a washed-up superhero actor attempts to revive his fading career by writing, directing, and starring in a Broadway production. Have you ever heard or seen of this?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
Okay. First and foremost, with this movie, it is presented in a one-shot fashion, which is wildly impressive given how much is happening. There are moments where you can clearly tell this is where a cut would occur. Like, they'll go down a dark hallway and it goes completely black for like half a second. So yes, basically anytime they are following somebody outside, there's a cut, but you don't see actually any visible cuts until you get to the end. There's a couple cuts, but that's about it. The best way I can describe this movie is that it just feels like jazz. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like chaotic and it feels improvised, and it's like this whole production. I don't know. There's also a lot of jazz playing in the background. For being a one-shot style movie, it's so quick. So much is happening. The dialogue is witty. They're doing these and they're doing the movie in like big one-shot sections. They section out the movie to do these takes, and it's just very impressive. Killer cast as well. Michael Keaton, Zach Galifianakis, Edward Norton, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts. Like, holy shit. Edward Norton is a highlight for me. Don't get me wrong, like, everyone is incredible, but Norton is on another fucking level. And it's also so unironically funny, the situations that these people find themselves in is hilarious to the audience, but no one is really laughing on screen. Very much like Zombievers. It's like, what's happening is hilarious, but not to the people involved. So, and it all takes place around a stage show, kind of rehearsals, and then the actual production, and then what's happening behind the scenes. It is an incredible movie. 4.0 out of 5. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. And then my review is, don't make Edward Norton angry because you won't like him when he's angry. And he gets angry a lot in this. It's not streaming, sadly. I had to go to Spencer's Voodoo to watch this. So once again, thank you, Spencer. But buy it, rent it. It is worth your time. I still don't even really understand, one element of it, but I just don't care. It's just such a fun time. So that's Birdman. Check it out. Let's do this IMDb Roundup. Boom. As Above, So Below from 2014. Released on August 29th of that year in the US. It is rated R for bloody violence, terror, and language throughout. Mild sex and nudity, moderate violence and gore, moderate profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and severe frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at 1 hour and 33 minutes, listed as an adventure horror mystery thriller. Directed by John Eric Dowdle, who we've talked about before because he also did the Poughkeepsie tapes and he did Quarantine. He also wrote this along with what I assume is his brother, Drew Dowdle. They wrote the Poughkeepsie tapes and Quarantine. Composed by Kephis Cianci, who also composed the Poughkeepsie tapes. Cinematography by Leo Henston, who did the cinematography for Stop Motion. That was a movie from a year or two ago. Edited by Elliot Greenberg, who edited the Poughkeepsie tapes, Quarantine, Crawl, Smile 1 and 2, and The Conjuring Last Rites. Starring Perdita Weeks as Scarlett. She was also in Ready Player One as Kira. We have Ben Feldman as George. He was in Friday the 13th, 2009 as Richie. Edwin Hodge as Benji. He was also in 57 episodes of FBI Most Wanted as Ray Cannon. Francois Civil as Papillon. He was in a movie called Frank as Baraquet. I don't know the movie, but I know the poster. It's like a big, like, paper mache head. That's what it looks like. I saw that and I was like, oh, that movie. Maybe I should watch it. Marion Lambert as Suxi. She only has 5 credits, and this was her biggest role. And Ali Maria as Zed. He has done most of his work in French films. Crazy that this only had a budget of $5 million, but it makes sense when we get to the trivia. Worldwide box office gross of $41.9 million. This movie was literally filmed in the catacombs of Paris and on location in Paris, and you can watch this on Amazon for a $2 or $3.99 rental. How did you watch this?
$3.99 on Amazon.
$3.99. Okay. Movies that came out around.
I should just fucking buy it at this point.
Movies that came out around the same time, we have Lucy, Guardians of the Galaxy, Into the Storm, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Let's Be Cops, The Expendables 3, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, The Maze Runner, Tusk, The Box Trolls, and The Equalizer. IMDb summary: when a team of explorers venture into the catacombs that lie beneath the streets of Paris, they uncover the dark secret that lies within this city of the dead. This is As Above, So Below.
My name is Scarlett Marlowe, and I'm a student in urban archaeology.
370 feet beneath this point is a hidden chamber
That might contain a critical missing piece of our history.
How are we supposed to get down there?
Catacombs. There are 200 miles of tunnels right underneath our feet.
They're holding the remains of 6 million corpses.
Stop. This is the Empire of the Dead.
These are human bones. We go through here?
Let's do it.
Keep it slow and steady, yeah?
I think I'm stuck.
Just breathe with me, please. It's okay.
What was that?
Is everyone okay?
I think I am. What the hell do we do now, huh?
We can't go back. We should just keep moving. Tell me we didn't just go in a circle.
It's exactly the same.
No, everything's upside down.
What happened to the entrance?
Wait, there's something here.
Oh my god.
What the hell is this?
When I was a kid, we had a piano that looked exactly like this. I used to play it all the time. The A4 key was messed up.
What's going on? Can you read that?
According to mythology, that's the inscription over the gates of hell. And they shall be made to crawl on their bellies to enter the kingdom of darkness.
Did you hear that?
Is somebody there?
What's happening to us? Dad?
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault!
So, Cory, overall thoughts on As Above, So Below?
I mean, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. I really enjoy nitpicking at the things that I don't like about this movie.
Oh, fun.
Just because, like, even if you've watched a couple YouTube videos about the subject, like, there's a lot of, like, really glaring lore things in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, but I get where you're going, and it's really fun. So, like, I'm willing to look past how you jumbled, like, 3 things together.
Yeah.
That really don't convalesce like that. But oh man, it's just so fun. I love all the characters just because they're all so ridiculous. And they're all ridiculous in like their own special ways, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we go. But man, there's just so much about this movie.
There is. My condensed overall thoughts are this is one of the greatest found footage movies to be made, with an incredibly original storyline involving real places, real people, and real stories. It's got some comedy, incredible acting, and some truly unsettling moments as well. Now, I don't mean it's literally based on the movie itself isn't a true story of people like going down there and hunting for shit. I'm just saying they have the real places of the catacombs. Nicholas Flamel is a real dude, and all that stuff. So it's not like this was an account of someone's story. But let's talk about that opening scene. Pretty fucking metal, in my opinion. Scarlett's going into Iran for searching for something that we later find out is the Rose Key, which was part of her, father's life's work. She mentions that if she's caught, the punishment is burial up to her neck in sand. Makes her way through these tunnels where she gets what she needs right before the planned explosion of these tunnels, and then boom, title card. Like, pretty great hook there. I do love.
It's super great. It starts out like, ooh, what if we made Tomb Raider scary?
Right. Yeah. Like, what if? Yeah, exactly. And that's the opening scene. And before we get to, maybe I can kind of work these into the conversation instead of just breaking it all down. I did want to. I'll mention one of these things first because it is the title of the movie. As above, so below is an ancient hermetic principle suggesting that patterns, laws, and the nature of the macrocosm, the universe, are reflected in the microcosm, humanity and Earth. The phrase implies that different realms of existence are interconnected and correspond to each other, meaning what happens or exists on one level will also be mirrored on other levels. So that's exactly what as above, so below means. What's really cool about the movie and the title is the fact this is something that I didn't even pick up on until this watch, as I went very deep into looking for meanings and stuff like that and kind of creating my own theory or whatever you want to call it. But the magic of as above, so below requires that someone needs to stay in hell in order for someone to escape it because of the rule that I just mentioned, as above, so below. So you actually need someone with the same sins as you to stay behind in hell in order for you to escape. And if you look at the movie, there are 6 people. 3 people stayed and 3 people escaped. But I didn't even pick up on that until this watch because I just wasn't looking at it that deeply. But it's kind of insane because George he didn't even want to go at first. So if they went down there with an uneven amount of people, what would have happened if they had an uneven amount of people?
Well, and I mean, depending on what you think about it, they did for a while have an uneven amount of people because they had Latoup for like 27 minutes.
Oh, see, I don't think he was alive. And that's a perfect segue into talking about him, I guess. I don't think he was actually living, breathing person. Because if you remember too, at the beginning of the movie, when George, Benji, and Scarlett go down on that tour, the guy that was Papillon's person he couldn't save, who was in the fire, is in the catacombs saying, you should go to this club and ask for Papillon.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. I don't know. So I use that specifically to tie in to even what the fuck is going on with these witches. I think the witches are there to like conjure spirits to get people to go down and go through the whole thing. Otherwise, those witches are completely inconsequential. I think Latoup got trapped down there and found accidentally the secret chamber through his own ways, and he's stuck there like the Templar that they find down there, except the Templar was already dead. He got left there as like a symbol of, yo, here's the fucking shit that you're looking for. But I think Latoop might be like undead instead of like a specter. I think he's like undead. I think he's there forever.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, so that's what I mean, but I don't really think that's the same Latope that went into the tunnels, because the long tunnels containing all the inscriptions and the poetry and philosophy pertaining to the Divine Comedy, I'm looking at that as limbo, because this is a clear... this movie is has a clear connection to Dante's Inferno and the 9 level of hells. But Latope, to me, he represents a couple of things. One is a lost soul. He is presented as now this, I mean, supposedly dead, maybe, who inhabits the catacombs. He also demonstrates that supernatural speed when they turn the corner and he's like fucking all the way down at the end. So, you know, his presence there in the tunnels of the catacombs kind of aligns with the concept of limbo. And as the group descends, Latope's physical form and the nature of the encounters change, becoming a visual representation of the character's own guilt and unresolved past, particularly for the protagonist, Scarlet. So I think he's also kind of like guiding them to a certain extent, because he says, you want to get out, follow me, and then they follow him.
Yeah, so I mean, he could be the Virgil character if we're drawing the Dante's Inferno parallels. I think the Dante's Inferno part is much more like sutured on to give it a little bit more fullness as to what's going on. Because there's so much less of Dante stuff than there is of like the alchemy and magic side of it.
Right.
So, but there definitely are a handful of parallels for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it's the weakest aspect of all the lore.
Yeah, because like if you're looking from a visual representation, I could like pinpoint a couple levels of hell that I feel were represented, but I mean, people have gone in depth with every single level of hell that they've gone through. Really, though, the main thing that I can come to a conclusion on is that final area of hell traversed within the 9th circle is the bottomless pit of penitence and the reverse leap of faith. I'm not going to break down every single level. I wanted to, but it just seems like too much to do.
So the only one that I could like definitively pinpoint is the 8th circle of hell, where Papillon dies because he's buried upside down up to his feet, and he would be there for 2 separate sins. First one being the sin of something called simony, which is like super fucking old school. It's basically going in and stealing and profiting off of like church relics and church shit. And then hypocrisy, because I think it's implied that Papillon caused the wreck that his friend burned up in, which is why they're like, in the beginning of the movie, like, oh, how'd Papillon get that scar on his hand?
Like,
and they're like, oh, we don't talk about it. So I think it's implied that it's like it was his fault, maybe like a drunk driving or something.
Yeah.
And then he denies that it's his fault, so that would fall into like hypocrisy.
Well, yeah, and so the other sins of the people there, and the one with Benji is it's not stated with Benji necessarily, but there is a scene that I happened to come across on this watch where so when Benji falls into that long pit, right, there's a jump scare that comes behind him, and it's this woman holding a baby, right? So to me that represents because everyone down there is kind of haunted by the thing of one of their sins. So to me, that is, okay, he must have had some sort of wife and daughter or son that he abandoned. And the French guy, Zed, had the same thing. At the end of the movie, he says, I have a son, although I deny he's mine, blah, blah, blah. So Benji and the French guy, Zed, have similar sins. And then Papillon and George also have similar sins because they left someone trapped, the friend in the burning car for Papillon, and the brother who drowned in a cave for George because he lost his way and couldn't find back. Scarlett and Suxi both ignored someone they cared about, Scarlett's father, who died by suicide, and the taupe, who Suxi never looked for. So that, like I said, there's 6 people, and they all have, like, the 2 of them share sort of the same sin, which I find that fascinating with the theme of As Above, So Below. And I like that they kind of, and like you said, they have a lot of things that they're kind of mashing together. It feels like the alchemy with Nicholas Flamel. There's also references to Dante's Inferno. What's the third thing? You mentioned 3. Is there something else?
Just like the old school, like, sort of Christian fan fiction.
Okay.
So like, because Dante's Inferno is 100% Christian fan fiction.
Right.
There's no basis behind it. Also, I find it hilarious that Dante Alighieri died, like, just a few years before Nicholas Flamel was even born. So, like, his work wasn't even all that old to really be influencing what Flamel was doing, which was completely counter because it was science versus the church and France versus Italy. But and just the wild the fantasy of it all. Like, the third thing would be like the intrepid adventurer trope.
Okay.
Because Scarlett is just way too lucky when it comes to figuring out. I think I have in my notes. Hang on. So the whole sequence of them figuring out the riddle about how they have to get into the catacombs in the first place is just ultra convenient. Like, it's way too spoon-fed, and the absolute wanton disrespect of the artifacts in this movie is ridiculous.
See, it is a little convenient, right? But I guess I kind of look past that only because it was her father's life's work. So she has so much information of what she needs to do with it. So it's like, it's spoon-fed, but again, she has like so much information already, and she's just trying to put together all the pieces.
So, and as Jessica pointed out, she was like, I don't understand this cast of people. How is everybody some ancient expert of something? Like, how the fuck is George... Like, how does he fix church bells? Like, that's not something that you just happen upon.
Right.
Or how is George, like, fluent in ancient Aramaic? Like, none of these people make sense. But I was explaining, but that's why it's fun, is because everybody is their own special little character.
Yeah.
And without each special little character, this movie never happens.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I kind of understand how George is, I mean, that's why George is there. And Scarlett and him hooked up at some point, probably over their fascination for all these archaic things. And yeah, that's a kind of, it is a pretty convenient plot point that she finds the rose key, can't translate it, goes to George, somehow finds and tracks down George, somehow has him translate it, and then they go to the museum where they're looking at, oh, maybe the key is on the back. And yes, there is a lot of disrespect for the artifacts, but it was pretty cool when she was like wiping it down with like lime and then lighting it on fire, and then one part of it hits and sparks, and you're like, that's pretty fucking cool. But everyone is like, we can't do this. Like, George is like, what are you doing? This is so against the law. This is illegal. Like, goddamn, Scarlett.
Even in National Treasure, all they do is turn it over.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So I did a terrible job explaining the things that I wanted to do, and I knew I would because there was so much, but there are a lot of good themes that go into this, and there is a lot of, convenient plot points, but overall, I do enjoy what they're trying to go for here. So let's talk about what worked. Obviously, the found footage element works. It amps this movie up to the next level. Would it have worked with traditional filming? Sure, but I don't think
I don't think so.
It wouldn't have hit the same. Like, it would not have hit the same.
Because this movie is it's deeply personal to me in general, but to the characters, everything that's going on is a very deeply personal movie.
Right.
And I think without the POV style, you don't necessarily get the impact because only one character is seeing the thing that's happening at the time, except for the phone.
God, that phone fucked me up the first time I saw this. I was like,
it still fucks me up.
Yeah, I'm like, am I crazy? What the fuck?
They crank the gain of it just enough to where on those like top rings, it crunches and distorts just a little bit, and you're like, that's not how that's supposed to sound.
It's not how it's supposed to sound, and we're fucking in the catacombs. No, this should not. I should not be hearing a landline. Horrifying. Continue with what you were saying, though. I'm so sorry.
I lost my train of thought. So
God
it's
damn it,
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
The phone thing fucked me up. Let me see if I can figure. Oh, the found footage element and how.
Because only one character's seeing it, and you're seeing it from that point of view, like with George's brother. You see George's brother, and then it cuts to other characters looking at the exact same spot, and nothing's there.
Yeah,
and you're like,
true.
All right. So it gives you that like that separation in what's going on, and you're like, ooh, okay, I feel that. It definitely evokes more emotion than like a standard theatrical setup would, I feel.
Yeah, and it also just makes you feel kind of part of the movie, like you're there with them because you're because everyone's got basically a headlight camera combo, so you're experiencing things from nearly everybody's POV. So it's really the way it needed to be done. And I totally appreciate that. I think the movie also does a great job, obviously, of creating claustrophobia since they were filming in the actual Paris catacombs. I couldn't even imagine going in there, not to mention filming there. There's also a very heavy atmosphere of dread that hovers over this movie, a huge amount of uncertainty of what's going to happen to these people down there. And it's just, I don't know. There's just, like you said, we've used this term. It's now become like a frightmare's-ism at this point, the lightning in the bottle. I feel like we use that a lot. But I mean, we've been talking about a lot of movies that we're passionate about, so it makes sense. But I think this is just one of those moments, I also really love the idea of the Philosopher's Stone and the power it has, and the fact that it is not just something from Harry Potter. The Philosopher's Stone is it's a mythical substance in alchemy believed to like transmute base metals into gold and serves as the elixir of life, granting health, youth, immortality. It's just really cool. I love that they put that in there. It doesn't really fit into Dante's Inferno story or anything, but nonetheless, I do think that is pretty cool. Every time I watch Harry Potter, though, I'm like, when did they take the stone and crunch it up and heal people? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's wrong movie. As above, so below. So, I mean, I could sit here and talk about everything that I like, but it's so impossible to encapsulate this movie because everything works for me. I have one little thing I did not like, and then I want to talk about the ending. But I mean, what about you? Is there anything you'd love to specifically highlight here?
I mean, so as much as you're going to hear me like do my little nitpicks about this movie, at the same time, it was written because like they may not have had the full understanding of what they were writing about, but they were like, God damn it, this is fucking cool. Like
right.
it's done in such a way that like I can very easily look past the gaps in knowledge of what I would normally be like, no, you need to fucking get that right, or at least get it close. that it, because of the themes and the mode of which they are presenting them, it's just like, man, this is so fucking cool and fun. Because, like, is it scary? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it like dreadful and anxiety because like you're squished up into these caves and they literally have a bubble lens on to make it look that much more compact? Yes, it's terrifying, but it's a fucking cool ass adventure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little bit Indiana Jones, a little bit Johnny Quest. But it's just so fucking cool. I love this movie. Like, not for this movie, but I literally have the words "as above, so below" tattooed on my body.
Yeah, as an ambigram, which is so fucking cool.
Yeah,
which makes the most sense. You have to have an ambigram, for, like right, like you have to. So.
But like, so it's just like you. I could sing this movie's praises all day long. Like, are there some? I wouldn't say glaring problems, but are there some like pretty evident plot holes going on? 100%. But it makes up for it in the earnestness that comes across in the cast.
Right.
Like, I genuinely believe Scarlett's character in the universe that she's living in,
mm-hmm.
which it's because it's so fantastical.
Right. Right, it really is.
So it's like, all right, no, this is very clearly a Tomb Raider ripoff, and then it keeps going, and you're like, no, this is a fucking Tomb Raider ripoff,
right? And
then they get in the catacombs, and you're like, oh, this is not a Tomb Raider ripoff.
Well, and I like what you said about it, because you're right. There are a lot of gaps in knowledge with the themes they're presenting, but because they're pulling from a few different things, it's like you give it a pass because they're not trying to tell you one straightforward story. They're kind of pulling in all of this stuff, so it doesn't really have to fully make sense. Now, yes, I'm sure there are people out there that might take great offense to how many different like things and elements that don't really go together that they put together in this movie. But the end result that you get of this movie is so fun because it's like Tomb Raider meets fucking National Treasure, fucking meets The Descent. You know what I mean? With paranormal elements. So it pulls from so many different subgenres within the horror genre. I think it's incredible that overall, I mean, the story is just so much fun. If you can kind of just let go of certain things, because we all, you can't sit there, and it's fun. I do like nitpicking certain things. Like there's one thing, what's my one thing that I had? Oh yeah, there's the one thing that drives me crazy about this movie every time, which is Scarlett when she goes back she needs to correct the sin that she did by taking the stone and putting it back. She gets back, it's so fast. How do you remember even how to get there? You've got it, it drives me crazy. I'm like, there's no fucking way she would remember after all the stuff that they've gone through how to get back up there, how to get back down. It makes me insane, but I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't care. It doesn't affect my rating or anything.
I can't even navigate my own house in the dark.
Right. The fuck you expect?
You're telling me you're sprinting back through what I counted as 3 separate climbing obstacles, 2 with rope.
Right.
Under a fucking underwater wall.
Mm-hmm.
Twice in and out.
Right.
And then fucking 1 river of blood. 1 whole river of blood. Like, how?
Yeah.
We spent 55 minutes getting through this to now.
Right.
And you're telling me in 85 seconds you can run back and back again. And very clearly there are heavy cuts as to what's going on. But it just absolutely insanity how they squish everything, and how at random points where you think you are ends up being not where you think you are. And then you're in just a giant black cavern for some reason.
Like a fucking amphitheater. It's like, I hate this. So Yeah, that's like my only complaint. I mean, yeah, there are other nitpicky things that I just don't even want to mention because it's just personal shit. But that's like the one thing where every time I watch, I'm thinking, there's just no fucking way. We spent 90% of this movie traveling to this point, and here you are hauling ass. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, we can sit here and just ramble on about everything that worked, but you said, did you want to talk about some of the nitpickier things you had?
So I'm gonna start off with the one and only thing that I quote unquote do not like.
Oh yeah, do tell.
And it's where after she gets back, running through all of this and puts the stone back, she wipes off the golden sun and stares at it for a second and then realizes, I have the power of the Philosopher's Stone. It is only granted to those people with the knowledge. That's what the rectification is. Like, they don't ever explain that,
right?
But it's very clearly that that's what that is. And I feel like you're going to throw all this lore at us through this entire movie, and then you're gonna dink out on it like that. Like, come on. That's it. Just felt like ultra cheap. Like, oh, it's the not the journey, it's the friends we made along the way type shit.
Yeah. So before we go to like hot takes and stuff like that, I wanted to talk about the ending real quick. We kind of did with Scarlet rectifying her sins. So, and I've already told you about all the other sins that everyone else has had, but the remaining survivors of As Above, So Below, they confess their sins, and they go through a manhole cover before emerging topside on the streets of Paris. This references something on one of the catacombs apparitions told them earlier: the only way out is down. It's how Dante escaped the Inferno. Only by going down through the circles of hell did he emerge back on Earth. Honestly, one of my favorite endings in I don't know about movie history, but definitely like found footage movies, because one, more than one person survives, and how they get out by jumping down and like, oh fuck, we're stuck, but then they happen to push down and you're like, is that a manhole cover? And then they pop out upside down. Fucking such an incredible ending to the movie. How do you feel about it?
I would pay a lot of money to figure out how they did that manhole cover scene. Like, them climbing out of it with the camera upside down every time I watch it, I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
How are you doing that? Like, it's so cool. But yeah, no, I really like the whole ending sequence. I like that they get out and Zed just fucking shambles away, and then Scarlet and George hug it out, and then the movie's fucking over. Part of me really loves that, especially at that point, they just don't explain shit.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, movie's over. Boom. Hey, they got away. Done. Because it leaves you with like, all right, well, that's done.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really leave you with any questions about it.
Yeah, I do love how Zed, though, he just like he hugs them all, hands them his headlamp, and it's like, I'm gonna go have a nap for the rest of the week. I am done with this shit. Such a great, yeah. So you do enjoy it, but maybe some questions would have been nicer to have answered, in your opinion.
I mean, if they had decided to do anything else outside of that ending, yes, you got some questions to answer. But because it's like Zed walks away, they hug it out. Now, there may be a like 5-second bit where Zed leans in and whispers something to Scarlet and then walks away, because he does lean in for just a second after handing her the headlamp.
Yeah.
But like, all right, if you're not going to put the actual dialogue, who cares?
Yeah.
Movie's over. But yeah, if they would have done literally anything else, you gotta answer some things. Like,
yeah,
what's up with the hooded demon thing?
Right.
What was that? I get the souls trapped in the walls. Ninth layer of hell is frozen. Yada yada. Okay,
right.
Cool. I got that. But like, what's up with the fucking witches?
Yeah, I've never heard them referred to as witches. I think you're the first person to actually call the singing operatic cult or whatever they are down there witches. I have None of that came up in my research on this movie, which
and I call them witches because it is, at least in popular horror movie zeitgeist, if it's a pack of women somewhere spooky, they tend to be witches if it's all women, because then it's a coven and then like it's a whole thing. But there wasn't a single man in there.
That's true.
So
and a couple of them were naked. That's the first time I noticed it. There were like 2 or 3 of them who were literally butt ass naked. I was like, how did I never notice this before? So yeah, that makes sense.
And like, why do they introduce them so early with the woman coming out of the club as they're going to see Papillon? And why is she just fucking staring at me?
Yeah. That's true. She comes out of the club staring at the camera, and then Benji looks out the window and she's staring at the camera again. And she also has that supernatural like speed, because she walks past the camera and then Benji like pans to the left and she's already underneath a fucking bridge at this point. So it's very bizarre. They don't really explain any of that. So yeah. Hot take for me, this is, and I don't really know how a lot of people feel about found footage movies, but to me, this is the greatest found footage movie that has been made. It is my all-time favorite. Yeah, so that's my hot take. What about you?
My hot take is, out of the 3 French people, Zed should not have been the one to make it out. he was the most inconsequential of the 3.
Yeah.
And I feel like he got way too story lucky.
Yeah, he did.
Like I get why Papillon had to die, but he rejected so much better of a character.
Yeah, that's fair. Hooked for me, I mean, pretty much right away. I'd say I was more intrigued with the cold open, but really when I get locked, the moment I get locked in is when they're in the tunnel at the entrance to the catacombs, and that fucking cop comes out of nowhere and just tackles one of them.
Yeah, NFL Sunday Ticket linebacker blitz.
Right, just fucking. And then they all scatter down in there, and Papillon's throwing smoke bombs and shit. But one of the other scenes that really lures me in is when they cross over the bones and they come across the tunnel that they saw on the other side of the bones, and Papillon's like, wait, no, like this isn't. We're not supposed to be here.
It's a super well-known horror trope, but god damn it in this one, because they just got you out of the scare with Benji where he thinks he's fucking stuck.
Yeah.
And you're like, ooh yeah, claustrophobia. Fuck yeah, this is awesome. And then they all get out and it's the same fucking spot they started, and you're like, yes, it's starting.
You're like, yes, this is the tunnel we're not supposed to go down. So what about you? Do you have a moment of being hooked?
There's like the whole Rose Key tunnel scene is so much fun because it really kind of sets a standard of what's gonna be going on. Like, she gets blown up in tunnels like 3 separate times, I think, in this movie, at least twice.
Yeah.
And then I love and equally hate whenever the answer just convenience its way into, they're like, oh, where the fuck we going? And then George is like, hey, here's the place that I said the buildings fell down. And then it's like, find Latoop. Okay, Latoop leads them down.
Right.
All right, now we got to fucking pick the right rock. And then there's a back and forth with how many planets. And I'm like, god damn, y'all. Like...
So I assume I'm never lost. I assume you're not either.
No, not really. But because I was watching this with Jessica this go around, every time we got like any kind of prolonged close up of George, she was just ripping on him, and I couldn't tell what it was until I was like, oh, he looks like young Matthew Broderick with BJ Novak's nose and voice. And she was like, oh my god, that's why I hate him. He sounds like BJ Novak.
Yet again, Cory coming in with the absolute insanity of just mashing actors' faces together for a perfect description of someone. It is at this point, it's a fucking
10
gift.
for 10. I never miss.
Never miss. Horror moment for me, there's a couple good ones. Obviously, the telephone ringing. I remember the first time I watched that. I was very confused because I was like, is that in my wait, I don't have a landline. What the hell? It fucked me up. And it's still to this day, I always forget when it's going to happen. And then it happens. And I'm like, yeah, that still works. But this one's not even really such a moment of horror. But when they come across the piano and George is like, yeah, I can never finish this song because the key was broken. And he goes to play the song and the key's broken. And I'm just like, it just makes me feel icky. I don't know how else to explain it. But I'm just like, and then he's like, what's going on, Scarlett? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's not going to be good. So what about you? Horror moments.
So I have, depending on how you want to look at it, I have two that are kind of like bundled together as one moment. And then another one. The other one is the piano scene, because it's so off-putting because you know it's going to happen.
Right.
You know, because the weird shit had already started happening and you're just kind of forced to ignore it. Like nobody's allowing the spooky shit to happen to them yet.
Right.
And then as soon as George like starts interacting with it, that's when shit just like into the atmosphere.
Right, yeah.
But the two bundled as one is when they are, and it's not even necessarily a horror moment, but when they're showing you the hole that they have to climb into to get into the catacombs. And it's just this like what looks like a storm culvert, and then this tiny hole in the wall that they have to go in backwards.
Yeah, fuck that.
And then you get the cop rushing up and everybody has to like scurry in and they're throwing smoke bombs and shit. It's just, it's such a high anxiety sequence.
Right.
That I think that pairing both of them together does it a little bit more justice than saying just the cop or just the whole climbing.
Right, like I'm already nervous to climb into this very tiny hole, and now I have to rush to climb into this fucking hole. My favorite character, I wrote down Benji. I didn't mean Benji. I meant George. I like George because he seems like I don't know. I'm just gonna go with George because I don't need to explain. But yeah, George is my favorite. What about you?
I am a fan of Papillon.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's really the only one that up until shit starts going like actually wrong, I think he's the only one that really has a handle on what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And for things only start going wrong when, so I do think if Scarlett wouldn't have taken the first rock off of the evil tunnel, they wouldn't have gotten stuck in the loop. I think because she opened it, she allowed that energy in, and that's how they started hitting the circle, and you have to go down.
Oh, I feel the same way because she messed with it. Like
no, 100%. And if you just listen to Papillon, you're gonna get to where you're going, and none of the bad shit will happen until you pull off the fucking grate and cave in the ceiling.
It's one of my favorite scenes where he's like, you want a tour guide? You go, look at this. Like, not me. He's like, you want to get to your treasure? This is where you go to get your treasure. Not that way. People go missing when they go that way. Like,
yeah, you want to go that way?
Yeah, wipe my hands.
You. I'm going home.
Least favorite character for me is Scarlett. While I totally admire her drive, her determination to finish her father's life's work and, to finish her life's work in honor of her dad, Benji said he literally doesn't do caves. He doesn't do it. That's where his brother died. And she doesn't give a fuck. She just doesn't give a fuck. She will do whatever it takes to benefit her. She also left him in a fucking Turkish prison. I'm not a fan of Scarlett. I don't like her. It's not like enough to make me dislike the movie, but I don't like her motives. As a character, sure, I like her, but she is not the greatest person. I think we can all agree on that. So, least favorite character for you.
So the correct answer is Scarlet, but also I don't like Benji because they did not give him enough screen time to do him as dirty as they did him.
Right. Him falling down like that? Come on.
Well, or the rope burn on his hands, or he's the only one that got stuck.
Right.
Like, goddamn, they beat him the fuck up, and all he gets is camera A, check, camera B, check.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's the most screen time he gets.
Yeah.
Like, because everything he says behind the camera tends to be like halfway insightful.
Right.
Like, he's almost the voice of reason. He asks good questions for like interviews.
Yeah.
Like, do him a little bit more justice.
Oh, I forgot favorite kill. Oh my God. Favorite kill, Papillon, but not because I did think he deserved it. It's just the coolest shot death where he gets sucked into the burning car. The burning car crumples upon itself, and then his feet are just sticking up out of the ground. It's just a really cool death. I would say Suxi, but she really did not deserve to get beat to death. So, did you have a favorite kill?
Yeah, Suxi's my favorite kill. Like within 4 seconds, it just like American History X just smashing her head.
Oh Jesus, that's
into
great.
the fucking ledge.
Love it.
And it's blurred out enough to where you can't like super see it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they showed it in its entirety, it would have been way too upsetting.
Upsetting and graphic. Favorite line for me is I just like the when they're about to they have to like literally crawl on their stomach, and George says they shall all be made to crawl on their bellies as they enter the kingdom of darkness. And I was like, oh, that's a fucking sick line. I love that. Did you happen to have one?
So yes and no. I love when they just start reciting these simple poems that are meant to be cryptic,
right?
And then like using them as clues, and I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. it's so funny every time, because you're meant to think that these are like wildly intelligent, intrepid adventurers, and then they're just reciting like basic ass poetry, and they're like, oh, it's fucking here.
Here it is.
I'm like, y'all, no.
No random thoughts or expectations for me, but my review would be, if I didn't shamelessly plug my own show, As Above, So Below, but make it Nicolas Cage on the search for a national treasure, and instead of demons, he's fighting cult members with the battle axe from Mandy. That's the movie I want to see. If you've seen Mandy, you will understand. It's called The Beast, and it's amazing. So, all right, I think we pretty much nailed it, except for my bumbling in the beginning there, because I had too much shit I wanted to say. Let's do some post-review stuff here. We got taglines. There's only one tagline, but it's good. The only way out is down. Thought that was cool. This trivia is like an entire paragraph, but I will summarize it. This is the first ever production that secured permission from the French government to film in the Paris catacombs, both in public and in the off-limits area. It's very cool. When Scarlet and George are in the clock tower discussing her journey to Iran to find the rose key, the bell and clock mechanism begin to move by themselves after George has fixed it. This might signify the foreshadowing of George's own life, as he resembles the life of Dante in the Inferno, who is forced off a road against his will, having to go through hell itself. Also note the encounter with the police officer near the entrance of the catacombs. This may also symbolize the wolf in the Inferno, forcing George to go into the catacombs when he insists that he will not. Goofs, the poem on Flamel's stone should not rhyme in English, fun fact. Scarlet Marlowe incorrectly attributes the inscription, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," to mythology. In fact, it is a translation of the inscription over the gates of hell in Dante's Divine Comedy. At the opening of the movie, Scarlet tells the camera she is about to enter Iran illegally. If she gets caught, the penalty is... Oh, that's incorrect. The penalty isn't stoning. She said the penalty... That's an incorrect trivia fact. Or that's an incorrect goof, so fuck that goof. Disregard. Rated 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Fuck the tomato meter at a 29% and a 42% audience score. How is Piranha certified fresh, but this is a 29%? Absolute blasphemy. What did you give this, Corey?
4.5.
4.5. Okay. This is a full 5 out of 5 from me. No surprise on the Frightmare certified. Slap. Similar movies according to Letterboxd. We have The Deep House, Paranormal Activity, 1408, The Nun and the Ring. Similar movies according to IMDb. We have Wreck, Grave Encounters, The Blair Witch Project, The Taking of Deborah Logan, and The Ritual. Let's do some funny reviews before we GTFO. I always come in with 5, so that's what I've got.
I've got 4 because I don't know what my algorithm for searching them was. So many in like not English.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So they're probably hilarious, but I don't know what they say.
All right. So 4 or 5 stars from Sarah. Today I learned Nicholas Flamel and the Philosopher's Stone aren't just Harry Potter things. Fun fact.
Yeah. Jessica learned that too.
Nice. Love it.
A half star from Joey. Actual slop.
Oh, wow. Damn. Okay.
That one's just harsh.
Ouch. 4 stars from Kate. They need to get a different hobby. Like, this just doesn't happen to people who crochet.
A half star review from Zozo Sweet.
Ooh.
Watching my mom's reaction to this movie was more entertaining than the movie itself.
Damn. Well, how did she react? Now I need to know. 3 stars from Bren Helena. And what did we learn? Crystal bitches stop at nothing to get their rocks.
A 5 star and a heart from Hannah, who is a patron. Watched this movie with a friend and she was shaking beside me like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
3 stars from Tren. Don't you ever confess your feelings for me in the catacombs. Oh, shit.
A 5 star and a heart from Lee Marie. Papillon was like, oh, no. And she was like, no, like, I'm going to be in the pit.
And lastly, for me, 3.5 stars from Kyle. They probably had the craziest sex after this. Hard agree. So that is As Above, So Below. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher, Blue Sky Threads, and YouTube at Frightmares Podcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. You can also follow me personally on Letterboxd at Dr. Proctor. You are
Frightmares Cory.
Boo, yeah. Be sure to follow our sister podcast, The Shameless Picture Show, and also check out the Dead-Eyed Millennial podcast as well. 2 shows I edit. Next week, Derek and I will be doing The Visit from 2015. Like I said, we're doing back-to-back found footage movies. Gonna be a fun time since we didn't get to do The Happening in 2008. So until then, stay tuned and...
Oopsies.